Hello from Mexico. I wanted to come on here real quick and share something that I have been seeing constantly on different YouTube videos about foreigners that are coming to Mexico to live. Many of them are starting to do videos of their life here in Mexico, and I think that that is great. And it even helps me, still all these years later, seeing other people, post their videos of life here in Mexico as a foreigner. And I appreciate that. But one thing that I have seen over and over is this line that says Mexico made me slow down, or Mexico has a different way of time. And it always makes me laugh because I read that and I think, are we in the same Mexico? Because where I live, it is not that way. Life is not, Mexico has never made me slow down, it's made me speed up. I remember when I came here, and I remember my husband, he told me we would just be walking on the streets and he would say, you need to walk faster because there's so many people behind you. And I was like, why? But I realized that there is a pace of life here, and it is not slow at all. And so I have seen people put people have put Mexico in this bubble, and they generalize it and say this is Mexico, and it applies everywhere. But it's just not that way. Where I live, it's the complete opposite. And so for us, it is a completely different way of life here. We have to get to point A to point B and face all of the obstacles and struggles to get there, right? And so when I hear that Mexico made me slow down, and I'm sure that maybe it did in the sense of, if you're living in a pueblo mágico or if you're in an expat community, and I love those places. I've been to many of them. I love them, and I think that they are great. And if you live there, I think that that is just great. It's awesome. But I don't believe that you can put that general term on Mexico because it is just not that way everywhere. And so, for example, here where I live, and I'm going to use a general term, Estado de Mexico and Mexico City, because we are so close. It's just the traffic that makes it so far. But where I live, it is the complete opposite of slow. It is fast paced. People have to wake up extra early in the morning just to be able to face the traffic, to be able to face the day. It's not just getting in your car, which many people, they don't have cars, and they use transportation because it's just practical. Even if you have a car, you should use transportation in many instances because it's more practical, it's cheaper, it's faster. But what I'm saying is, you have to get to point A to point B here. And it is a fast-paced life. Not only do we have to deal with the traffic, but we know that we are not always going to get there on time. Even when you plan to get to a place on time, many times you're just not going to be able to do that. Why? Because there's always obstacles. And you're saying, well, traffic. No, not just traffic. You're talking about there's so many people here. And so you're dealing with a lot of different personalities also. You've got the combi drivers that are going to fight the other combi drivers, and they're going to be fighting in the middle of the street, and that's going to put you back however long to get to wherever you're going. You've got the manifestations, and I understand why they do it. But one manifestation in the city can completely block you from going to wherever you're going all day long. Okay. And so, maybe that person needs to get to work and they can't because they're blocked from a manifestation. That may mean that they're not going to eat that day or the next day. And so there's always this stress and anxiety of I've got to get to point A to point B because I know what can happen in between those times. And when I hear Mexico being put into this general term of, it slowed me down, I do believe that can apply to certain people. But I think it can be very offensive to the people that live here to put Mexico in that bubble, because it's not that way for a whole lot of people. Once you get out of those expat communities and maybe the coast life, it is a different world. It can be a different world. And so, I've seen it over and over, and sometimes I just laugh and I think, a lot of people that are wanting to move here, foreigners, they're going to watch all these videos and then come, and some of them are going to be very, very shocked to realize that Mexico is not this slow place that a lot of people are painting it to be. And I think that we have to be very careful if we're going to be doing these videos. I think we have to, put out the correct information, because and we're going to mess up, but we have to be correct in what we say. And I love Mexico. This is my country now. Um, but you have to deal with the fast pace of life here, if you're going to live in these areas, and it's just part of life. It becomes normal. um, and I guess that's why people live in different areas. There's people that want to live in different, and I understand that, but I think we have to be careful to not offend people, because it can offend people. People work so hard here, and many people are gone all day long trying to work, to get to work, and then get home. And that can be an all day thing. And that is the reality for most people. And so to paint Mexico as this slow paced country is, I believe, is incorrect. And I think it can be very offensive to the people here. So I'm just throwing that out there. As I'm starting to do these videos now, I'm realizing so many things. Everybody has their own opinion, but we have to make sure that we're given the correct information. It is always very, very wise to do that. I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later.